Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about the Phalanx. For those of you who are not aware, the Imperial Fist supplement is out, and inside of it has some very juicy lore. There is a 2-page spread on the Phalanx itself, and the Phalanx is back to becoming fully operational when it comes to its systems, and what that means for me is absolute retribution and devastation against the enemies of mankind. So let's jump in and let's talk about this glorious battle station of the Imperial Fists. So a little brief history on the Phalanx itself. Now, this was a dark age of technology station. So what that means is that this was built back when humanity was at its peak when it comes to science, exploring, doing all its shenanigans in the galaxy. Of course, since the dark age of technology, all that design or the process of what humanity designed has been lost. We don't know how, but it got lost. Now, when Rogal Dawn was cast upon Inwit, and the Phalanx was stationed above Inwit, and of course, since Rogal Dawn was a Primarch and he rose and took over the planet, he took the fortress monastery, the Phalanx, for itself. Now, the Phalanx is massive, hugely massive. And when I say massive is probably an understatement. Think of a moon. Do you know what? Think of the Death Star and then probably double the Death Star, even triple the Death Star, because this thing is just immense. The amount of firepower, the amount of things you can fit on there, it is manned by millions and millions of people. It's like a world upon itself floating above other worlds and bringing pain, retribution, suffering to the enemies of mankind. Now, when the Emperor first arrived at Inwit, Rogal Dawn was like, "Hey, father, this is yours," and the Emperor was like, "No, my son, thank you, but you take it. You lead your Imperial Fist with it." And from there, that's where Dawn, led the Imperial Fist with the Crusading, bringing Inwit to planets, conquering, purging, taking worlds back in the Imperial's name and stuff like that. Of course, when the Horus Heresy happened, there was a lot of things. The Phalanx was kind of used, but it wasn't used that much. Now, there's a certain reason why it wasn't used as much in the Siege of Terror, and I don't really want to go into it in this video because it's kind of a spoiler, and you should be reading the Horus Heresy series itself at the Siege of Terror. It's really cool. It's absolutely amazing. But after the Horus Heresy was finished, the Phalanx was basically used as the Imperial Fist's main base. And what I mean by that is, even though Terror was basically the Imperial Fist's main homeworld, the Imperial Fist always saw the Phalanx as the homeworld. So, for example, when they got recruits from Terror, places like Necromunda, Inwit, and stuff like that, they always brought them back to the Phalanx itself to do the training, to assess new recruits. When they processed from scouts and stuff, it was all done via the Phalanx. Now, the Phalanx in the days of 40k, this is before basically Guilliman returned, of course, was probably one of the holiest places for the Imperial Fist, because when Dawn went missing, he vanished. He's not dead. Dawn lives, brothers. The only relic that was found from Rogal Dawn was his hand, and aboard the Phalanx holds Rogal Dawn's hand. And if you don't know the backstory, each chapter master of the Imperial Fist comes there and he scrimshaws his name upon the hand of Rogal Dawn. A little bit of cool lore. So that's where the only known Dawn piece of the piece of Dawn lies. So it's a very holy place for the Imperial Fist. Now, of course, since the Horus Heresy, the numbers of the Imperial Fist have been greatly reduced because the legions got split up. The Codex Astartes come in, and with that, the actual Phalanx itself has degraded over time. You don't have that many people running the systems. Of course, just like the Dark Age technology, when people come to learn how the ship works in certain ways, that has got lost over time as well. So certain parts of the Phalanx have been shutting down, they're not responding. So over time, over this 10 millennia, the Phalanx has really become a shadow of its former self. It's still a massive beacon of hope and retribution for the Imperium, but it was nowhere near the functionality of what it could achieve during the Great Crusade / Horus Heresy era. Now, even though the Phalanx has come under attack a couple of times, you can go back to the Soul Drinker stuff of all the chaos shenanigans that happened back then. And one of the biggest tests it really had was during the Gathering Storm, when Abaddon launched his final act upon Cadia and took out Cadia itself, opening the way for the Gathering Storm and the big Great Rift that ripped across the galaxy. The Phalanx was actually stationed above Cadia. It took on Abaddon's fleet as well as a black stone fortress. This is where a lot of the damage came to the Phalanx. After Cadia fell, the Phalanx went back to Terra to basically try and repair itself and get its functionality back in working order. Now, this is where the new Lease of Life comes to the Phalanx. When Rebooter Gilliman returned and he set his decree upon the Imperium to start fighting back, to start taking back the stars, he actually decreed that the Phalanx should, be at the forefront of that. He recognized Rogel Dawn's fortress in the skies, and it should be leading the Imperium's fight. Now, the Custodes, when I say the Custodes, the Shadow Keepers, who are basically like the relic people who gather like all these secret relics and stuff, they went down into their dark cells and they presented Vaughn Hagen, who was the Imperial Fist chapter master at that time, with a secret technology. It doesn't say what the secret technology it was, but what happened, the Imperial Fist took it back to the Phalanx and they began to restore the Phalanx, and it became kind of like fully operational again. The actual quote says that the Sons of Dawn had a chance to restore their spiritual home and flagship to the least of some of its former glory. Embracing this gift graciously, the Imperial Fist immediately put this technology to work with staggering results. Once the repairs were completed, the Phalanx operated at a level not seen in countless years. So this is what I mean now, that the Phalanx is back to being its best it's ever been in its life, and that can only mean great things when it comes to the Sons of Dawn. Now, we haven't seen the Phalanx be used to its full potential as of yet in the current setting, and what I mean by the current setting is the Indominus Crusade / the Plague Wars era and stuff like that. The timing's so muddled up at the moment. I am kind of confused of what is happening. The whole Psychic Awakening is happening during the Indominus Crusade, but we've already had books past that, and you can really lose yourself down this bloody muddle of a mess they've made themselves. But what I would personally love to see is the Phalanx used to its full potential. Now, we haven't seen it been deployed in any of the big battles, and I think it deserves not really, I want to say a fully dedicated book to the Phalanx itself, but more or less it to be shown off in its full glory. This is the biggest, the greatest, the most powerful ship the Imperium has to offer. I would go as far and say that this is the greatest ship in the galaxy. Probably the Necrons could probably rival it with its tech and stuff like that. Maybe the Eldar Craftswolf, maybe. But when it comes to firepower, this can unleash the Emperor's fury itself. So I really, really wish and I hope that GW Black Library or something happens with it to show how devastating and how awesome this ship can be. Now, as a fan of the Last War Protocol, I have a little idea on how GW can make something really, really awesome of the Phalanx. We all know the Phalanx is basically Dawn's legacy. It is like the Mecca when it comes to the Dawnian gene line and stuff. Rogel Dawn's sacred hands there. You've got the Temple of Oaths there and stuff like that. There's so much awesome lore surrounding the Phalanx. What I would love is that each official successor official successor chapter of the Imperial Fist would send at least one company to be aboard the Phalanx at all times. So that's like, one company of like Black Templars, or you can say like a Crusade or a Host or something. One company of Excoriators, one company of Subjugators, etc., 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 something like that. So the Phalanx is more or less fully manned as much as possible because the ship is massive. I know you have millions and millions of serfs on there and stuff like that, but I would like it to be like the home away from home for all official Dawnian chapters where they can all go there, they can all have their meetings, they can all discuss the future of the Dawnian gene line, they can discuss battle tactics, coming to each other's aid and stuff like that. I think it'd be really, really cool to have like the Phalanx as the capital for all the successor chapters, and they can just talk about Dawn and, how much the Iron Warriors suck and everything like that. I think it'd be absolutely brutal. And when the Phalanx is deployed, you are then deploying kind of like the last war. You are deploying every official successor chapter of the Imperial Fist, because they at least have one company aboard that ship. I think it could make some fantastic stories. It would be absolutely brutal and amazing. Whatever happens, the Phalanx is back, and I am absolutely ecstatic. This is now our time to shine as the glorious, glorious Sons of Dawn. We will bring his retribution, we will bring the Emperor's retribution among our foes, and they shall cower in the shadows as the Phalanx overcast them. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Where is my Dawnian brothers in the chat? Who is behind the idea of making the Phalanx the capital for all the Imperial Fist chapters, so we can all have a nice little talk on there and stuff like that? Who's hoping that we see some Phalanx future in the Phalanx action in the future? This is something I definitely want. Come on, GW. Come on, Black Library. Give us like a Phalanx book of just going around pacing, smashing fleets, and ripping entire chaos planets apart and stuff like that. We deserve it. We deserve it as the Sons of Rogel Dawn. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. See you all very, very soon. Have a great day, and bye-bye.